and I can only show you from a borehole.
It's politics.
For me, it is what I call Iberberism. I beg your pardon. Go and search for it, my friend.
It's current affairs.
4 years course, metamorphosing into 6 years.
And news that affects you.
What an academic academic in their leadership rococo, leadership brababare.
It's all the serious stuff,
but with a light-hearted twist.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aghogho Oboh.
Join us 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Right here.
On Hard Facts. On Hard Facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. I'm so excited because I'm just coming into the studio from a reception that was held in honor of Prince Edward, one of Queen Elizabeth's sons, His Royal Highness Prince Edward. So the British Deputy High Commission in Lagos organized a reception for him to kickstart Lagos Theatre Festival. And I was one of the people who was invited to come and enjoy snippets of what we'll be seeing at this year's festivities, and also drink some wine and eat some canapes and all kinds of things. It was great. I had fun. But here we are, and we've got a great show planned. Your first hard fact of the day is an update on the story of Wadume, the alleged kidnap kingpin in Taraba. You remember that story from last year, right? He was declared wanted by the police. They conducted a raid and arrested him. And then soldiers shot the policemen who arrested him, and he ended up escaping. And after that, the police accused the soldiers of colluding with Wadume. Well, on Monday, the IG of police has formally charged Wadume and 10 soldiers to court for kidnapping, terrorism, murder, and arms smuggling. One of the charged soldiers is a Captain Tijani Balarabe. Remember, he was the one that the policemen claim had been on the phone on 166 phone calls with Wadume. You remember? So we're just letting you know that case did not die. The story isn't dead. Wadume, the captain, the soldiers, all of them are going to have a day in court. We don't let any story die here on Hard Facts. Aghogho and I are here to give you the best insights into today's most important topics, and we bring them to you, break them down, and give you the facts so that you can form an informed opinion. And any show you miss, you can always catch online. Facebook, YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. Like I said when I started, we have a great show. We're starting with the big three. More developments in the Okada and Keke restriction. Customs boss says Nigerians are naturally criminal, while the Accountant General says customs is behaving criminally. The U.S. government says the Nigerian government will repay Abacha Loot if it squanders it. Yes. The big three is going to be great. The glass ceiling is going to be even better, because today on the glass ceiling, we're talking about the idea of women getting fired or not employed whenever male employers are worried about attraction. We're going to look at a tweet by Pastor Enoch Adeboye where he said that a married man should fire his secretary if he likes her too much to save his marriage. Yes, we'll have that conversation at 4. On the big hard fact, we'll be discussing Lassa fever and the coronavirus and our attempts to handle them. The newsroom, as always, for Wednesday, has a special report in that area. And after the 6 o'clock news, Dr. Max will be bringing you leadership insights. As usual throughout the show, we're bringing you the latest news updates, including business, entertainment, and sports. But let's start off with the big three.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three on Hard Facts
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let me remind you that we are streaming this conversation on Facebook. So if you cannot wait to get in on the conversation via the phone, Facebook is the place where you should start leaving your thoughts on the different matters. Is the state government doing enough to replace Okada and Keke? Should the Senate have approved budget for the Customs Service? And should the Nigerian government be allowed to handle the Abacha Loot? These are the stories that everybody is talking about right now. More reactions and actions are trailing the Okada and Keke restriction. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has launched 8 new ferries for waterway transport, bringing the number of ferries in the government service to 14. The ferries are set to take 40 to 60 passengers at a time and will connect Ikorodu, Ebutero, CMS, Badore, and Ikoyi. Sanwo-Olu also pledged to build modern jetties in Badagry and Lekki and Ajegule to complete the one being built in Ijegun as well. He called on investors to put their money into Lagos's water transportation sector. The governor has said that by the end of the year, the boats will be increased to 30 and that 500 new buses will be injected into the state transport system. Meanwhile, some civil society groups are planning a protest march against the restrictions. The so-called Occupy Lagos is scheduled to hold at Eco Atlantic on Saturday morning. The organizers are demanding a reinstatement of Okadas and Kekes on internal roads in the affected local government areas with stronger regulation and monitoring. You know, it's funny how each time these ferries are discussed, their capacity changes. At first, the government said that they could carry up to 40 passengers. Now, it's 40 to 60. I think on my day off, I will go on, one of these ferries. I'll go and ride one, and I'll come and report back to you how many people these ferries can take. Or if you have been on these things and you've counted, I'd like to hear from you. But let's say that the ferries can take 100 people. There are 14 of these ferries right now. Let's say that we get the 30 that the government is planning to get by the end of the year. Let's say that each ferry can run its route 4 times during rush hour. So 100 people times 30 ferries times 4 trips. That's 12,000 people. Those ferries can move 12,000 Lagosians in rush hour. We're 21 million. Now let's add the 500 buses. Let's say it brings the number of BRT buses to 1,500. According to the Lagos State Government, the current maximum capacity of its BRT system is 200,000 passengers a day. The whole day, 200,000 passengers. Not just rush hour. So these new buses raise it to maybe 300,000 a day. And maybe half of that is rush hour. So you have 150,000. Now add the 12,000 on the ferries and you get a rush hour capacity of 162,000 Lagosians. We're 21 million. Are these numbers adding up to you? When we say government is putting in place a replacement for Okadas, can the replacement fill the gap? 21,162,000. 200,000 Okadas making 10 trips in rush hour. Do you know how many Lagosians they're moving? 2 million. And we know that the numbers are larger. Now, that's just a long journey. So let's talk about, the start and end of your commute. Let's talk about, what the transportation experts call the first and last mile. Lagos government is asking you to use buses and ferries. The question is, how do you get from your house to the bus stop or your house to the jetty? If the walking distance is short, no problem. A lot of people keep saying that, after all, people in London walk all the time. People in New York walk all the time. One major difference, though, that people are not talking about is that there are so many bus stops in London that the average distance from somebody's home to a bus stop is very short. People don't mind walking if the distance is short. Internationally, there's a concept called acceptable walking distance. Did you know that? In nations like the US and Australia and New Zealand and the UK, the acceptable walking distance is 400 meters or a quarter mile. The idea is that on average, the distance from a home to a means of public transport in a major city should be within the acceptable walking distance. How far, I want to ask you, is the nearest bus stop to you? Have you measured? And if the government has not yet brought the bus stops to within the acceptable walking distance, should they be in a hurry to restrict Keke and Okada, who are doing the job at the first and the last mile? So let me talk to you. How far is your bus stop from you? Do you think 500 extra buses and 30 ferries are enough? Do you think I'm too alarmist? 01277 0993 01277 1993 01277 2993 01277 3993. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Twitter is at Nigeria Info FM. WhatsApp is 080 959 75805. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name?
My name is Jabi.
Gabby, welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the analysis you are making, you are only referring to the one of government. We still have other private individuals who are doing the same transport business. If government can put this effort, it is not just a day business. So they will still try more. But let's start with this. That's what we be encouraging people. Because the situation before in Lagos is becoming unbearable with all this Okada and Marwa. We are suffering it for now, but we should take it. As time goes on, everything will be okay. The distance we are traveling, if you do your investigation to all this ferry area, there's a major route where buses can drop people. Then you trek to the ferry places. So you make your survey. It's not a far distance. So we should take it for now. I encourage the government to do what they are doing. Not to say there is 2,000 people out of 20 million. We should not take that statistic in that way.
Okay, Gabby, thanks for calling. Gabby says don't pay attention to the statistics. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sandra. My
Yes.
name is Shay.
Shay, welcome. Go ahead.
Yes, basically for me, I think the government is trying to do its best. What the government is introducing is actually a stopgap to help. The private sector is still involved in transportation. And we have other means of transportation like the Alien Power Act that are coming up. Many ones will still come up. We need to sanitize the way we live. People are dying at 45, at 43 because the way we live is nobody. There's no city in the world. Lagos is still one of the worstest places to live. And all of these things boils down to how transportation and how we move. No human being should drive Okada for 10 years in their life. Should drive Keke Marwa. So if the government is trying to do this, we should encourage them and uplift the quality of life of our people. I think that's one of the most important jobs that a government has to do.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Shay, for calling. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. What's your name?
Yeah, I'm Ngozi.
Welcome, Ngozi. Go ahead.
Okay. This is Okada ban. I usually liken it to a child that is talking and the mother tries to pull him away from the breast milk. For the child at that moment, the mother is the most wicked woman because of what the baby enjoys, the sweetness of the breast milk. Without knowing that there are better meals ahead, there are better food that are better off than what's taken at that moment. For me, the government have done the right thing. Most times when I see some of these Okada riders, the ones I know, I usually tell them not to do this thing without wearing shades on their eyes. Because the truth of the matter is, health-wise, years to come, many of these guys may actually go blind because of the kind of things they expose their eyes to, their health, and all sorts of things. They may not know. A lot of them suffer a lot of their respiratory infections, and they keep buying drugs and on and on and on. is that what they are going to do for the next 10, 15 years? So for me, I think it's revising on the right direction. And I also want to see it in other local governments being implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngozi, for calling us. Our second story, according to the DG of Customs, Nigerians have a natural tendency to commit crime. Hamid Ali made the comments while discussing his services seizure of billions of naira, as well as smuggled pangolin scales. Ali said, quote, "The fact that we have border closure and people still bring rice and other items into the country shows that our people have the natural tendency to commit crime. We need the cooperation of the media and the general public to get the right information that will help us do our job, because customs are not magicians." Meanwhile, the Auditor General of the Federation has accused Hamid Ali's Customs Service of repeatedly committing financial crimes. The AGF's report accuses the Customs Service of failure to audit its accounts over the last 6 years and of making multiple illegal withdrawals from those accounts. The AGF asked the National Assembly not to approve any new budgets for the Customs Service and other agencies that violate financial regulations. But this week, the Senate went ahead to approve a 238 billion naira budget for the Customs. So me, I'm just the messenger here. I'm just bringing you three different matters. The first matter is the Customs boss saying that Nigerians are naturally inclined to crime. And I wonder if he means that we are more inclined to crime than other people. I wonder how you as a Nigerian feel about that statement. I also wonder how he should feel about that statement, since he is also a Nigerian. Is he including himself? Because that brings me to the second matter. They say that when you point one finger at me, Abi, your other fingers are pointing at you. Eh? Now, the head of customs says Nigerians are inclined to crime. And at the same time, the Auditor General says, Oga Customs, so you follow. The AGF is accusing the customs of some very serious crimes here. I mean, failure to audit accounts for 6 years. I have a business. I audit my accounts every year. That's me with my small change, which is my own money. How much more an agency of government that is handling public funds? 6 years. And the Auditor General also accused customs of withdrawing money illegally from those accounts. And you think about that. Very big accusations. Bigger than smuggling pangolin scales. And I wonder what Hamid Ali has to say. We'll have to get him on the show and ask him. And here's the third matter. The Senate heard these accusations from the Auditor General and still approved the Customs Services budget. And this is raising eyebrows because of the Senate's job. You know, one of the Senate's job is to ensure that the money that it approves for the executive is being used properly. And here we have the Auditor General, the main oga bata in the executive, whose job is to monitor government money, begging the Senate to help him to stop the agencies that are allegedly not giving a proper account. And you know what the Senate did? They did not act. The Senate approved the budget anyway. What do you think about that? And what do you think about Hamid Ali's comment? Do you agree with him? Are you, as a Nigerian, are you naturally inclined to crime? Do you think I am naturally inclined to crime? Do you think Hamid Ali is naturally inclined to crime? Do you think the continued smuggling is a sign that Nigerians are more criminal than other people? Or do you think it's a sign that government has failed to watch the border? What do you think about the AGF's claim that customs has gone for 6 years without audited accounts? And what do you think about the Senate approving their budget in spite of the complaint from the AGF? 012770993, 012771993, 012772993 and 012773993. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name?
I'm Julius from Ojo.
Julius, welcome. Go ahead. Share your thoughts.
Thank you. The Accountant General.
Auditor General.
Auditor General, thank you. He's doing his job. But the problem is the politicians, the senators. They know that what the man is saying is right. But because of their personal pocket, they went ahead. And that is the problem we are facing in Nigeria. The challenges and the issue of border, all these are what the government from the previous regime have failed to do. They continue to manipulate and do things wrongly. Only God will help in this country. So even the man himself who is speaking is part of the problem.
Okay. Thanks for calling us. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Sandra. Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Zicky on the line. I'm calling from my friend.
Go ahead.
Yeah. About what the AGF said, it is said that as a man thinketh, I'm talking of the custom, the Comptroller General of the Custom now.
Okay.
He said, the Bible even said that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, about the National Assembly approving the budget for the custom is also justified by the fact that birds of the same feather, they will surely flock together. You see, there can never be productivity in a country where purpose and priority are misunderstood. The cause of Nigeria's backwardness is because of the leadership. And I know nothing goes forever. All of these things, citizens will demand for it one day. Thank you. God bless you.
Bless you as well. Thanks for calling us. Okay, and yes, when you call, you can still talk about the first story where I'm asking if you think the government is doing enough to replace Okada and Keke. We have a comment from WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. And Tony from Shasha says that he left Alausa for Shasha. And before now, once he got to Dopemu under bridge, he'll come down, get Keke or bike at Akonjo roundabout. As he types this, he has been trekking under the sun from Dopemu under bridge and heading to Shasha. Is this fair? Will I get ferry on the road? Or will the buses ply the inner streets that ultimately leads to my house? Whatever the angels are waiting for to sound the trumpet, especially on this country, Nigeria, still beats me. Tony, sorry about that hardship. And thanks for sending us that message. And my first two callers called in and, said something about, well, the private sector are still there. Private sector are doing their own part as well. It's not just government's job to do all of this. But if we say that Lagos is a 21st century city, then we should expect that private citizens should not be in the business of mass transit. If Lagos is a 21st century city, it's a mega city, then we should realize that we should be in a Lagos that mass transit is the business of government. Because that's what happens in most developed nations. Mass transit is not for the private sector. This is because transportation is not a cheap service unless it's subsidized. That's why BRT is cheap. If the public mass transit system had enough trains and enough buses and enough ferries, nobody would want to use Okadas for long distance. But because there's a gap, that's why the private citizens, stepped in. So we cannot, in trying to defend the government or trying to say, let's, be patient, let's see where this goes, now make something that is an anomaly into the normal. It's not normal. What we're trying to do, after all, is get as many cars off the streets as possible, right? Now, we have Chidi from Ikoyi on WhatsApp who says, nothing is enough in this Nigeria. Yes, it's manageable. Uber is here to help. Danfos are there and private cars are there as well. Okay, Chidi from Ikoyi. Thank you for sending your message across. We have another message on WhatsApp from Afam who says, let the government ban Okada and Keke completely throughout the entire state. All right, Afam. Thanks for calling. Thanks for sending your message across. Peter says, I dare Lagos State government to maintain this stand on Okada and Keke ban whenever any election approaches. Okay. Ororo from Ayobo says, government should have told us they wanted to restrict Okada and Keke just to boost their BRT and ferry business. They never do anything in favor of the citizens, but they'd lie. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, he's also talking about the disaster at Yannick Baja earlier today with Okada and Keke against the police and other road users. We're keeping our eye on that story. Let me move into the final story because at 3:45 we have people from a business school here in Lagos. Now, the U.S. is saying use this next Abacha Loot well or pay us back. That was the warning from the U.S. government to the Nigerian government this week. The United States announced that it was facilitating the return of $321 million. That's 118 billion naira, which was previously stolen by military dictator Sani Abacha. But there are conditions. The Nigerian government had to agree that the money would be used for 3 specific infrastructure projects that will be sited in different parts of the country. Also, according to the agreement, Nigeria will permit the USA to monitor the spending of the funds on the projects. And if any portion of the funds are diverted by Nigerian officials, Nigeria is liable for a refund to the authorities in the USA and Jersey, where the money was found. Kai, see our lives. See our lives outside. Our own money, on top of our own money. Hey, God. Some Nigerians have reacted to America's conditions with outrage. How dare they dictate to us how we use our money? A sovereign nation. They have stolen our money and now they are giving us conditions for returning it. Imagine. But I've heard other people who have said, hold on. This might work. I mean, we've all seen in the past how looted funds have been returned, but every day Nigerians have not seen how the money was used. We've heard so many allegations that the loot has been relooted. The last batch of Abacha Loot was used to fund the Social Investment Program, SIP. But we've also seen criminal cases about SIP money being looted. And the biggest problem that we have when it comes to corruption allegations is that it is very difficult to hold government officials accountable. There's a perception that money gets embezzled, projects get abandoned, nothing happens. And nothing happens because nobody can twist the arm of the government and the government's agencies. But America can. And America is saying, look, we're tired of seeing that the money we are returning is just entering somebody else's pocket. And they've decided to make sure that the money goes to specific projects. Build this road, build that railway, and we're watching. If the money enters your pocket, we will make you pay it back to us. And some Nigerians are saying, maybe this is the only way to force governments to do the right thing. And here's something I find funny. Here's something I find most interesting. The Nigerian government has already agreed to this plan. They've signed up. That's why the USA is releasing the money. Basically, the Nigerian government is so broke and needs the money so badly that it couldn't tell America, go to hell with your conditions. And maybe that's all the proof we need that we've truly mismanaged our finances. This is like when your brother is so bad with money, so you have to seize his money from him and help him manage his life so that his children will not starve and not be kicked out of school. But these are the reactions I've seen online. How about you? How do you feel? What do you think of the USA's conditions? Do you support tying the return of loot to specific projects? What's more important, our government's sovereignty or its accountability? Share your thoughts with me on Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Like I said, we have guests from Rome Business School who'll be joining us in a few seconds. And we're going to learn from them what this business school has to offer, why you should be a part of it, why you should perhaps get a degree, perhaps do a short course, perhaps get a basic certificate or something. That conversation coming right up.